Well, a very warm welcome, everybody. Welcome once again to the DDMM YouTube channel. Welcome to somewhere a little bit new for us, to Portugal, to Portimao. Well, I say new in a Club 100 iRacing Championship sense. This is the first time that we've been at this track. It's for round 6 of this year's Club 100 iRacing Championship. We're back in the GT3s tonight for 2 40-minute races, qualifying getting going in just under 10 minutes time. And very glad to be welcoming back to the DDMM virtual commentary box. He was otherwise engaged for round 5 at Zolder, but Reeve Taylor, you're back with us for the final event of the year. Well, I say the final event of the year, final event of the calendar year. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much, Andrew. As you say, yeah, this year's absolutely flown by, getting close to the Christmas time already, but great that we're going to get a little bit of racing action under our belts for one last time this year. What a track to be returning at as well.
Indeed, Portimao. I say new in a sim sense, because we did actually have a DDMM commentary, not on at the resort, at the kart track, which, as you're looking at the grandstand there, it's just over the back side of it on the left-hand side for some Champions of the Future earlier on in the year. But let's get in the zone. Let's talk Club 100 iRacing Championship. This will mark the opening of the second half of the season. It's the last race before the winter break. We are now getting into that stage of the season where drivers are going to start thinking about championship. So let's have a look through those championship scores after 5 rounds at the halfway stage of the season. And look at that, Matthew Swain, 1,129 points from those 5 events so far. But Max Andrews was able to claw some points back last time out in the MX-5s in Belgium. He's the only other driver to break across the 1,000 point barrier at this stage. Remember, when we get to the end of round 10, it's effectively best 7 scores with a little bit of a twist. Each driver drops their worst MX-5 night, their worst GT3 night, and then their next worst, which could be either or. So it could be 2 MX-5 nights that they drop, or 2 GT3s, given on how they progress through the season. Ronald Grossman, I don't think he's racing tonight, so he will use this as his dropped GT3 round. So we'll stay on 840 points. Tom Saunders currently leads in Clubman on 803. It's a really, really topsy-turvy table in Clubman. Nobody really has kind of got a run together so far in the first half of the season to indicate that they are going to be the driver to beat. I've lost count of how many different drivers we've had in the Clubman top 3 so far this season, but right here, right now, it's Saunders on 803, Jack Eyre on 735, Cam Watson on 684. They're all ahead of Tom Roberts, who's playing a bit of catch-up, didn't do rounds earlier on in the season, so his 672 is probably not fully reflective of his true championship credentials right now. 8th, Sam Spinell. Sam Spinell does take a qualifying suspension tonight. Went beyond the threshold of penalty points in a single event at Zolder last time. He's one of 2 drivers who we will not see in qualifying tonight, but they will start race 1 from the back of the grid. But at least at the moment, Sam still holds a top spot in the top 10 on 671. Andy Alston's had a solid start as well. He's 9th. Matthew Shawnee up in the top 10 overall at the moment and leading in intermediate, but was beaten last time out at Zolder in terms of points across the 3 races in the MX-5s by David Whitehouse. So keep an eye on Whitehouse there. Currently 15th in the points, has got into the lobby. We've got 35 drivers, I think, for tonight's racing. David's just been racing against the clock there to get in before the registration window closes in 4 minutes' time. Other drivers to keep an eye on: Adam Brown 11th, Joao Castro, Sam Sanders and Murray Adams, particularly Sanders and Adams. Sanders hasn't been in every single round so far this season. Adams, massive return to form 2 weeks ago at Zolder. Can Adams repeat that feat of being in the top 3 in every single race finish tonight here in the GT3s? Axel Slijepcevic is back. We've missed Axel for the last couple of rounds, but he's still got a mathematical chance of winning the title. He does pretty much need to go perfect through the whole season, or near to perfect. No more bad rounds for the number 42. He's there on 480. Peter Knight was a rookie earlier in the season. If you missed this earlier on in the year, is now an intermediate, very much in the mix for some of the prize pot positions in intermediate. He's 17th. Sam Dimolo had a decent run at Zolder as well. We'll run down to 19th. I realised the keyboard that I need to use to type the number in is a little bit too far away from me. There we go. Mike Weddle 19th, John Adey 20th, Lawrence Vines, Tim Ellis, all ahead of the first rookie in our order. That's Daniel Cook. So Daniel had a good round at Zolder, got a bit of a lead over the rest of the rookies, but things can change very quickly. Sean Patterson and Colin Ward nicely positioned there as well. And just to mention as well, no Josh Mitchell tonight. He's been celebrating the great run to the World Cup for the Scots. He's not with us tonight. This is a very good excuse to not be racing, because he is organising his travel, his accommodation and all of that business, because he's got tickets to the World Cup, to 2 games in the group stage. I'm not going to ask how much money it has cost him already just to have a ticket, and all of that was in the news in the week. But well done to Josh. That's going to be an absolutely brilliant experience, and probably the best excuse I've ever had for someone not racing in one of our events here this season, Reeve.
Absolutely. I mean, I missed last week, or last week I say, fortnight ago, for a bit of Hans Zimmer, as did one of our competitors, Johnny Pinder. But yeah, it doesn't quite get up there with a World Cup match, as good as it was.
Indeed. A couple of minutes to go before we start qualifying. It'll be the same routine as normal. Solo qualifying. No one can complain about traffic when they're in their own little bubble universe of a qualifying session. Get your comments in. Let us know who you're watching. Let us know who you're supporting. Sorry there haven't really been any social media posts in preparation for this one tonight. I've been moving flat, which for anyone who's moved, you know how painful that one is, and we've done it twice in 1 year. Not again in 2026. But Reeve, Portimao as a circuit, you touched on it earlier. It is a cracker. I would go as far to say, of any circuit that has been built from scratch in the last 20 years, oh, you can see the pit buildings for the kart circuit from that shot. Of any circuit that's been built in the last 20 years, this is the best one in the world.
It's a bold claim, but you know what? You could well be right there. It's similar. You look at the diagrams, very similar to the likes of Barcelona or even Estoril and how it looks, but it's just got that extra element, the undulations, the elevation changes, those off-camber corners. There's something about it. It is a proper roller coaster ride with a fantastic backdrop as well. You might see it at a few shots on your screens now, folks. Some brilliant scenery around here. Not a track I've visited myself in person. Hopefully that'll change at some point in the future. But yeah, a track I think the drivers really enjoy, at least going for a quali lap around as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You drive up into the hills to get to this circuit. And I say it's been built as a whole, they call it the Algarve Race Resort, with hotels and all sorts. It's not just a racetrack plonked in the middle of nowhere. I'd say it is probably the highlight of my in real life karting circuit visiting season. No offence to any other circuits, but Portimao is pretty good. Anyway, focusing on the job at hand, 5 seconds to go before this practice session ends. For the record, it was Tom Roberts who was fastest in that session on a 1:39.99, the only driver to go under the 1 minute 40 barrier in that session. Sam Spinell was second, Max Andrews third, Matt Swain and Sam Sanders completing the top 5. I just wonder, can I pull the results up, or is it not going to? No, it's not going to let me, is it? Fastest of the intermediates, as now it's reset. In fact, it's free practice. No one cares about free practice. We're here for competitive action, and it will be with us in a few moments' time, because the lone qualifying session has begun. 10 minutes. Everybody has to do, well, they don't have to do, but they will be aiming to do 2 flying laps, get a nice banker in the early stages, and then go for it in the second one. We've got our details on for your drivers out on circuit across the bottom of the screen. That'll scroll through. I'll leave you to watch that one at home as all of those details do come through. And as I say, I think we've got 35 drivers in total in the lobby tonight. 2 of them will not take part in this qualifying session. They will need to work their way from the back of the grid. Let's have a look at some race cars. Let's have a look at who we've got out there ready to go for a good lap. Here's Max Andrews on your screen. Good work from Max last time out. Had a really, really big battle with Matt Swain, but won out in the end, took the most points across the course of the 3-race evening at Zolder for round number 5. But it really is the GT3s where I think Max needs to pick it up a bit, because he's lost a few points so far this season. I would say it's not going to be a title deciding night, of course, Reeve, because it's only round 6, but it could be one of those pivotal nights where when we get to the end of February we're looking back to this point and going, yeah, that's the one where Matt Swain just started to pull away a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, we're getting to this phase of the championship where drivers are starting to think a little bit more about the championship, and the cream will rise to the top at this point. So we are going to start to see a few contenders who by all means got the pace, all means have the qualities as a driver to be competing at the top end, but for one reason or another, they're going to drop out of the mix as we see Max Andrews heading down the straight, drop down into turn 1. Tricky braking zone, this one, because obviously you're heading down the elevation sweep. The corner's a little bit off camber. It can be tricky to get the brakes right, so drivers will have to be careful with that one on race start. We filter through towards the end of sector 1 now, and yeah, just another prime example of how it's a roller coaster ride, this circuit. It's brilliant.
It really, really is. Here is Matt Swain on your screens. So if you're new to these broadcasts, you're wondering, hang on a minute, why are these cars hopping up around and disappearing? Everyone's in. This is what we mean by lone qualifying. Basically, all the drivers, from what they are seeing from their own consoles, they're on their own. There's no other cars out there on track, but they're all doing it simultaneously. It means we can hop back and forth between them to show you what's going on. Here is John Adey, one of the parachuting carrots, another driver who could do with a good evening to just keep things ticking along and close the gap to Matthew Shawnee, who's had a very good start to the season in the intermediate ranks. Who's looking quick at the moment? Well, Sam Sanders is on a decent pace at the moment, his fastest of anyone through sector number 2. Not quite in the same situation as, say, Axel Slijepcevic, but similarly, Sam Sanders hasn't been at every single round, so could really do with a strong score tonight to start to bring himself back into championship contention. I've got to say as well, very nice new snazzy livery on the number 34 tonight. Over the line, what is the lap time going to be? Remember, 1 minute 40s were the benchmark in the first session. That's a 1 minute 41.6, so maybe fresh tyres there, Reeve. Not quite fully up to temperature on the GT3s at this stage, because even the likes of Swain, Slijepcevic, they're all in the 1 minute 41s at the moment.
Yeah, tyre temperature can be a little bit tricky to get right at this circuit. In the likes of faster single seaters, it's a lot more sensitive, but long sweeping straight down towards turn 1, that gives the tyres plenty of chance to get perhaps a little bit colder than you would otherwise like, but you can make up for that in that middle and final sector, particularly through turn 15, where plenty of speed to be carrying to keep the tyres warm.
Good first lap from Rob Crawford, another one of the drivers who started the season as a rookie, is now an intermediate, has gone up to, well, into the top 10 with that first lap, so good to see. Also, big welcome return, James de Havilland in his first racing appearance of the year. Yeah, to know his livery is very not legal. He'll get a warning point for that one and get it fixed for the next GT3 round. But James de Havilland now a Premier. Was a clubman last year, was one of the top runners in the clubman class in the 2024-25 season, has joined the grid for the second half of the season. At the moment, he's looking pretty good in the top 10. So it's Swain from Slijepcevic, Sanders, Andrews, top 4 drivers, all in Premier at the moment. Tom Saunders, as we saw in the first session, the free practice session, has gone quickest of the clubmans. Then it's Roberts, Adams, de Havilland, Alston and Weddell over the line. Who are we going to see go to the top of the order? It's looking like it's going to be Sanders. No, Matt Swain goes to the top. And Ronald Grossman, who has made it tonight. I thought we weren't going to see Ronald tonight, but we are. And has gone up to P4. Was that a first lap? No, that was a second lap. Slijepcevic over the line goes to P4. Very close, very competitive there. No questions of getting involved with weather and all of that business like we saw at Zolder a couple of weeks ago. It's all about getting out there and getting the lap in. What's Mike Weddle up to at the moment? He's currently in P17. He's had some decent scores in the season so far. Andy Alston has gone up to the top of the order in the Clubman's, P6 overall. Here comes Michael Weddle. It's not a really big, well, it is an improvement, but not a big one. Stays P17. Looks like Rob Crawford has taken pole position at least now. Oh, Tom Roberts goes to the top of the order. Tom Roberts, well, he was fastest in the free practice session, has just put in a 1:40.91, Reeve.
Yeah, blistering stuff there. I was wondering when we were going to see that elusive 1:40 time. Tom Roberts making the difference when it counts. Still 3 minutes left to go, though. I suspect we're going to see, now that we've got those bank laps in, we're going to see those push laps, those slightly more brave laps beginning to filter in from some of our drivers now. We've got on board with Daniel Cook in the 44s at the moment. Looking to probably try and get a little bit close to those 43.9s if he can. 3 minutes left on the clock then as he wrestles that McLaren around. McLaren, not the most popular car here this evening, but good to still see a number of competitors making use of it this evening.
Indeed. I think a lot of our drivers have already gone out and banged their 2 laps in. Yeah, I say last time out at Zolder, it was all about leaving it as long as possible as the track dried out. That's not a problem here this evening. I say that Matthew Shaw, he's gone purple through sector number 1. This could be a big lap from one of the surprise packages of the season so far. Currently 17th overall, needs 2 positions to take intermediate pole position. Oh, doesn't quite get it right in the 3rd sector. Loses out, drops down to 17th. Mike Weddle coming around. I think he's still on a lap. Yes, it is still on a lap here. Slijepcevic, I think, is done. Grossman, I think, is also done. Cam Watson is still on the lap, but not really improving. There we go. Matt Hale out there on circuit. Let's have a look at how Matt's getting on in the Acura. I don't think that is Matt, the only driver in the Acura. Yes, he is.
I spotted that before. I rate it. Go for it.
Matt Hale does things differently, and well, he's trying something out here with the Acura. It's still quite a new car on iRacing, so it should still be getting a little bit of the bop boost. But yeah, not really the preferred option for many of our drivers out there.
Or even on the road as well.
To Tim Penny, who's saying, how many wides are we expecting in the first quarter, James? A lot is what we'll say for that one. Over the line comes Matt Hale. That is the lap done. Atty Cooper, she's over the line. P32 for Atty in the Audi in the 316. Just to note as well, no lap time from Jack Hare. No lap time. Oh, news, Reeve. Johnny's made it.
Yes.
Just.
He has. I was keeping that as a little secret for you. I was getting frantic messages as he was trying to make it work, and I made fun of his internet before, but it seems to have just about sorted itself out, and he might be racing with us this evening.
Indeed. So we've got 36 drivers on the grid for tonight. Just trying to see if anybody else is. I think there's actually Ronald Grossman has done his 2 laps, but I think he's still continuing out there because he's not had much practice time. There's nothing in the rules that says you can't do that, but his second lap times won't count, of course. So there's not going to be any changes there. I think that's going to be our grid then, folks. Roberts, Swain, Sanders, Andrews, Slijepcevic, Grossman. Tim Penny asking for a live quali in the future. What do you mean by that, Tim? Because this is a live quali. A live quali in some other formats? Let us know in the chat. Lawrence Andrews as well in for cheering on Max Andrews. I think everybody is done with their laps. That was a nice dry qualifying session on a track that doesn't have the longest lap time, so a quieter end to things in that one. But let's take you through the order. Well, let's do this properly. Let's show you the grid for this first race of the evening. Tom Roberts will be on pole position for it. Matt Swain alongside on the front row. Sam Sanders and Max Andrews row 2. Axel Slijepcevic and Ronald Grossman mean it's a 3-row lockout, top 3-row lockout of the premiers there. First of the Clubmans, it's an all Clubman row 4. Tom Saunders and Andy Alston. Row 5, It's an all-Premier affair. James de Havilland and Adam Brown. Murray Adams and Cam Watson will go from row number 6. Next up, heading into the midfield, Magnus Rudevald and Joao Castro have good chances to get good points from there, starting ahead of all the other intermediates and the rookies. The intermediates start on row number 8 with Rob Crawford, the first of them, alongside the experienced hand of Lawrence Vines. Matthew Shawnee, good qualifying once again from the points leader in intermediate, starts 17th alongside Mike Weddle. I think that's a real reflection of how much Matthew has improved so far this season, that he's now regularly out qualifying some very pacey drivers, and Mike Weddle is definitely one of those. Tim Ellis, good qualifying there from Tim, is a novice clubman. Well, it's the first time, a baby clubman, let's use that phrase. But I think that's one of the best qualifying performances from Tim Ellis so far this season, his first appearance in this championship. Starts inside the top 20, that's completed by John Adey. First of the rookies, Colin Ward and Daniel Cook, they've really been the stage setters for rookie so far this season, of those who've stayed in rookie. So they resume their championship battle from row 11. It's saying James Fremont and Jack Mitchell-Lowe going from row 12. Jack Mitchell-Lowe looking to get another big haul of points. Did pretty good last time out in the MX-5s at Zolder. Next up, Craig Brown and David Whitehouse, they're row 13. Eric Mignon and Sam Dimolo, row 14. Simon Delamere, Tom Holland, row 15. Matt Hale and Atty Cooper, the last of those to set a lap time on row 16. 4 drivers who did not set a lap time, 2 of them due to qualifying suspensions, so that's that out of the way and done with for Sam Spinell and Ollie Walker. Jack Eyre and Johnny Pinder will start at the back of the field as well. And remember, the order of the grid for race number 2 is set by the finishing position of race number 1. So they're not out of it. They basically will go for this as a 2-stage race now, Reeve, to get themselves back into contention for the big points. And again, remember, if it's your first time here, or you just need a little bit of a jogging of the memory, 240 points available for a perfect night. So it's 120 championship points apiece for the winners of these 2 races. And again, now we're into the middle phase of the season. We have got half an eye on drop scores at this stage of the year. It's not like, say, Club 100 sprints, where you drop your worst final in one round and your heats spread across the season. The drops are for the whole night. It's the worst night that gets dropped. So if you do get a good score in the first race, it's imperative that you get that consistency to continue into the second race, to bank those points that you've got in race number 1. Does that make sense, Reeve, or have I just confused everyone at the end of a long year?
I think it makes perfect sense, as you say. It's not an easy task. It's 2 40-minute races. You've got to keep you cool, got to make sure you compose, make sure you're ready to go for that second race. It's 100 and, I know you said 120 minutes. It's not, it's 80 minutes worth of driving. It's a good thing that my qualification isn't in maths, isn't it? But yeah, should be a good one tonight as well. Our drivers head round to get formed up to go racing. I'm excited to see what these GT3s will make of Portimao.
Tim Penny has clarified himself, and I feared this might have been the thing. He wants all cars out together.
We don't.
Absolutely not, Tim. No, not happening. Sorry, mate. I have enough trouble with the drivers and their opinions, shall we say, after race conditions, where we can, through stewarding systems, take action, shall we say. We couldn't do anything in our current format with a live qualifying. I mean, hey, if we could get enough funds and budget together to pay for an in-race steward, I think we could do it. But right here, right now, Tim, absolutely not going to happen. Anyway, formation lap underway. Good evening to... no, not good evening. What time is it? It's going to be good morning, isn't it, to Steve Hicks, visiting family on the better half side in Australia. So forward to a potential Murray Adams Clubman win, perhaps. Right, let's get into it then. We've never had a race round Portimao in the Club 100 iRacing Championship. What are we going to see here? Down into turn 1. Tom Roberts has pole position. He's been in this position before in the Club 100 iRacing Championship. what lessons have been learned from earlier on in the year. Tom's gone early, he'll need to keep it pinned, because once the drivers have hit the loud pedal, they've got to keep going. That is a perfectly executed start by Tom Roberts, down towards turn 1 for the first time. Really good start as well from Sam Sanders. Sam Sanders up to second place immediately past Matt Swain. Axel Slijepcevic is 4th, and Max Andrews down to 5th place. This is where it can get a little bit tight as well into turn 2. Good start for Grossman. Are they all going to make it through this first part of the course? Looks like they're just about doing so at the moment. I think that has... Oh, no, Grossman out of control. Grossman out of control and into the wall. What has happened there? At the front of the field, it's all good for Roberts and others. I think there's been a significant incident, though, on lap 1. I'm seeing a lot of drivers as noted as crashed. Let's have a look at it. Let's not look from chase cam. This is not a stewarding session. I think that was... That's a falsie. That's a falsie, folks, from earlier on in the session. Never mind. First rather incorrect button press of the night. Back at the front of the field there, Reeve. What did you make of that start from Roberts?
Yeah, dream start for Tom Roberts there. Can't ask much better. But Sam Sanders also very hot on the button, splitting up that old Mustang front row and closing up that gap to Tom Roberts quite nicely. I thought Tom was going to be able to kind of swoop on past with just how much of a gap he'd already built up heading into that first corner. That 911 though, very handy on the brakes. He caught right back up heading through turn 2 and turn 3. I'm going in for a really good race now, folks. Roberts just needs to keep his cool. Sanders is on the attack. Watch out for Matt Swain. I think he's wanting a bit of a recovery here. And Slijepcevic also vying for a podium on his return, is under pressure from Max Andrews. This is going to be a really good one from our top 5.
It is indeed. I think Matt Swain will be quite happy with this situation. He's got his nearest competitor in the championship behind him in the shape of Max Andrews. Let's in fact try and see if we can go on board with Max Andrews right now. Here is the view from inside his Mustang. Axel Slijepcevic in the Aston Martin Vantage directly ahead, and this top 5 already starting to break away from the rest of the field. Let's have a little catch up with what happened earlier on in the race. Andy Alston's had a problem. This was down towards turn number 1. Now Alston is going to be the Porsche in the rethink race. Oh, 3-1 doesn't go. That was James de Havilland and one of the Paragon Mustangs on the inside. That'll have been Murray Adams, because Sam Spinell started at the back of the field. So that's what happened to Andy Alston. We saw that Ronald Grossman, of course, went off track as well. What happened here? Just lost it on cold tyres, lost the back end of the car. That is a big error from the German. Back onto circuit, but a long, long way down the order. Will probably need to use his one single fast repair that everybody has. They all have a freebie. He'll need to use that at his mandatory pit stop to get that rear wing fixed. There'll be a little bit of aero drag. In fact, there's been a second problem for Ronald Grossman. I can see that the alerts come up on our screen. What's happening? Well, this is Grossman trying to come back up through the field with Matt Hale directly ahead. Oh, he's done the same thing again! Exact same incident. Well, not quite the same incident, not the same end result. He goes off to driver's right that time, but second time in the space of 3 laps that Ronald Grossman has had a spin down at turn 2. Other things to report. Simon Delamere has had an issue. Let's see what happened to Simon. This was also on lap 1. This was towards the back of the field. Keep an eye on the yellow Aston Martin does all of this. Oh, collects Johnny Pinder. I don't think Johnny could really do too much about that. I don't think Simon was aware that he had 2 drivers to his left-hand side. Back clip of the Aston is off. That's going to be going back to the pits. Sam Dimolo has also been in trouble early on. Keep an eye on the 271 Mustang. Is there going to be a little bit of a tip there from Craig Brown. Craig Brown just kind of got caught 50-50 there. I don't think Craig knew whether he needed to go fully in for the move or break a little bit earlier. Catches himself out and spins around. Further dramas for one of the runners, top runners in Clubman. What has happened to Tom Saunders? We're seeing an event log on our screens. This is down into the hairpin. And is that back end of that Audi going to come round? Yes, it is. Very Audi R8 on iRacing incident there. That's all your latest updates then, folks, for what's been going on in the first 3 or 4 laps of this race, Reeve.
It is indeed, and thank you for filling me in there as well. I'm currently hoping to see some cars back on my screen at some point. iRacing's being iRacing. But I can see from the time system that Tom Roberts still leads. It looks like he's about to come to the end of the lap, so could we go for a blind commentary? No.
No, we'll get that fixed for next time out. Further issues, we've had a change for second place, and I want to try and give you all at home a look at how it happened. Bear with me. It's Matt Swain's got ahead of Sam Sanders. They've both dropped off the back of Tom Roberts here, so was it a little bit of a feisty one? It was quite a while back that they actually happened. Apologies, don't think I can find it fully on our screens right now. Issues again though. Sorry Reeve, I'm going to send you blind for a moment. Looks like Joao Castro in the Rexy Mustang has had a problem. Oh, Backett just got a bit wide there off of the Rubber Racing in line. That Porsche did very well to avoid. Was that Andy Elston? Then in the background, Craig Brown has had his own incident in sympathy. Joao rejoins, safe rejoin there, no problems with that one. But Joao has lost a number of positions in that exchange. Have you got cars on your screen, Reeve?
Not quite yet. I'm giving everything the old off and on.
Ah, okay.
And oh, I do now. I can see Tom Roberts ahead of Matt Swain and Sam Sanders, which is fantastic news if you're Tom Roberts and fantastic news if you're a commentator as well.
It is indeed. Just a quick update on what's happening further down the field. Ollie Walker at 15th place is one of the 2 drivers who was suspended from taking part in qualifying earlier on this evening. Where is the other? Sam Spinell currently down in P32. I wonder though, have we had some pit stops already? Because this is, of course, a race where pit stops will come into play. We'll get you updated. I just wonder whether it's not a lot of fuel that you need to stick in the GT3s to get them through to the end of the race. Yeah, I think Sam Spinell has been in, served his mandatory pit stop, gone for the strategy of be a bit heavier across the course of the race, but be in clean air. That is a very, very shrewd set of tactics, if you ask me, Reeve. Knows he needs to keep himself out of trouble. He's in P32 at the moment, 17 seconds off the back of the next car, but at least has got his pit stop out of the way. As I say, Ollie Walker has also done the mandatory pit stop. He's already up to, has not done the mandatory pit stop, so there's the difference. They both started at the back of the grid. Ollie's gone for the strat of stay in the pack. Is currently up to P22. Other drivers who've made good progress. Jack Eyre just behind as well is up to 23rd. This is the fight just ahead of those aforementioned drivers, James Fremont and Andy Alston. Alston had those problems earlier on in the race down the inside. Lovely move there from Andy Alston, goes through. Ollie Walker is going to have a look at going for the move as well. This is intermediate on intermediate. Sweeping around the outside there is Ollie Walker. Nice move again from one of our new drivers in the championship this season, up to P21.
Yeah, brilliant stuff there. Using those beautiful flowing curves of this circuit that present themselves as overtaking opportunities as we head further into the lap. I wanted to start finish straight with Tom Saunders in the aforementioned R8, dropping down into turn 1 under pressure from the M4 of Cameron Watton as we head further back to James Fremont now, who's very much feeling the pressure from Jack Eyre, heading down into that first corner. Jack benefiting pretty well from that big rear wing of the Porsche 911 up in front. A bit of slipstream potentially coming into effect there to now go on board with the Scot. Mikey Weddle now heading down through into the middle sector. And everyone's staying in a nice single file formation, which is good news if you are a steward, because you can get a bit of a brave lunge opportunity presenting itself here at this circuit, but it is a brave one, as I say, and drivers don't need to be going for those moves with half an hour to go in the race.
Nope, 9 minutes and 30 seconds of this one gone, to be absolutely exact. Looking pretty good so far. This is a much calmer start to things. Just to note, Ronald Grossman has been in, done his pit stop, got those repairs. What kind of pace are we seeing at the moment from Ronald was seeing a 1:43.45 last time around, so a bit more pace to find, perhaps as this race goes on. Joao Castro, I think, has been in as well, so we saw the spin for Joao earlier on. I wonder, has something else happened out there? Because that is, I was not expecting to see him off the lead lap at this stage, but that is what we're seeing with the information provided to us by SDK Timing. Developing situation at the front, Reeve. I've just noted that Tom Roberts momentarily purple lap time, but it was taken away from him by Matt Swain. So as we're getting into the middle part of this race, it does look like Matt Swain is starting to at least match the pace of Roberts, if not start to trim that lead down a bit.
Absolutely, they are trading purple sectors at the moment. There's mere hundreds separating them overall in terms of their overall fastest lap. It's 600ths of a second is the overall margin. In Sector 2, near enough identical. Only 400 separate them in Sector 3. Slight advantage to Matt Swain. And then another few hundred separate Roberts and Swain in Sector 1. Advantage to Tom. So they're going to be trading blows throughout the rest of this race, I suspect. I think one of the big determining factors will be execution of that pit stop. It could all come down to this.
It could indeed. Tim Penny's doing his finest to get me in trouble on my own channel tonight. Is there any reverse grid shenanigans for the top 10 for race 2? No. It was being considered to put it in for the second half of the season if the drivers would put good boys and girls. But I will be frank with you, Tim. They have not been good boys and girls the last couple of... They had a really good start to the season. The last few rounds have not been to my pleasing standards. So, no, we'll keep it like this right now, because reverse grids generally, we've got the data, produces more accidents when we've done it previously. I'd like to, but they've got to behave themselves first. Anyway, 12 minutes of this race to I've got 28 of it to go. Let's have a look. Let's see what iRACING exciting action for us. It's going to take us back to the battle for 11th place between Weddle and Saunders. A reminder as well, what are the drivers competing for in this one? Well, the winner of the championship in the Premier class, Club class, and the Intermediate class, they all get a free race event, courtesy of Club 100 in 2026, either an SP40 North race day or Club 100 Experience race day. And that is of their choosing if they win it later on in, I say later on in the year. Club 100 season's done now, of course. For those of you who've got their registrations in, got any confirmations from the office that we'll see you on the grid for 2026. Very much looking forward to seeing you out there on track. As you say, where these drivers will be competing in those championships. Meanwhile, Saunders looking down the inside of Weddle here. That's a nice move, but Weddle's defended it beautifully around the outside. This is what I like about Portimao, Reeve. Drivers can go back and forth. Wide circuit, nice sweeping corners, produces some brilliant racing. That's a little bit close though between Saunders and Weddle. Saunders had a little bit of a tickle of the rear diffuser there of the Mustang. On board now with Tom Saunders, who's trying to go round the outside. That could be a brave one into this brilliant last corner. They're still going at one another. Cameron Watson's got the best seat in the house of all of this there in 13th place. This is marvellous stuff.
This really is. This battle's been brewing for a good few laps now, as Watson's in a prime position to all of a sudden be the driver battling Weddle, as boxed off by Saunders this time. We've seen over the past few laps that Weddle's actually been struggling on a few occasions for rear grip. The car seems to be scribbling around a little bit, and Saunders has been using that to his benefit, closing up against Weddle. But Weddle, with the grunt of that Mustang, has been able to just about keep the nose out in front, as it looked like Watson was joining in. We head up to an action, bit of action just slightly further up the road, a little bit of contact there, trying to get that Mustang stopped just behind Adam Brown now as well. It's all getting a little bit close quarters, isn't it? We head in to turn 6 and turn 7. This corner really does reward bravery as you head into the long sweeping right-hander, which feeds quite nicely to the northernmost point of the circuit. We stay on board with Ridevoldo, who is still trying to keep... Now, that is actually... No, we're on board. Yeah, we are still on board with Ridevoldo. Yep. Sorry, but Adam Brown is through.
Yeah, Adam nicely got his way through there, ahead of his Reeve Racing teammates. It's Crawford just ahead of them, lead intermediate at the moment, having a really, really good race in the Ferrari. This is what I like about being able to give the intermediate drivers this opportunity to show that they've got the pace that the future seasons could see them moving up the ranks, moving up the order. Crawford's already done that earlier on in the season, started the year as a rookie, and a data-led approach moved him up into intermediate. Some good racing going on here at the moment. 10 laps. We've had 9 laps completed. We're on the 10th lap at the moment. Still Roberts, Swain, Sanders, Slijepcevic, Andrews your top 5. But I've been noting, Reeve, that gap between Roberts and Swain as Brown gets right into the exhaust pipes of Crawford's Ferrari there. That looks very, very close. May give rid of all the opportunity now downhill into the hairpin to go down the inside for 9th place. But no, thinks better of it. Stays there for now. This is bringing Weddle, Saunders and Watson into play again.
It absolutely is. This changed the dynamic of their 3-car battle pretty substantially at this point. They were going pretty tooth and nail, but now they want to be kind of working together in order to fight for the top 10 positions in this race.
Indeed. Was wide there.
Saunders?
That was Atty Cooper. I think that was Atty just trying to keep out of the way there. Atty off the lead lap. Nearly caught some of the leaders out. So that's 3 cars now off the lead lap. Well, Atty was already off the lead lap, and it was just the point where this train was catching up. Let's switch to our leaders, because as I say, there has been a bit of a development between the top 2. Roberts and Swain, evenly matched, of course, both in the Mustang. Swain closing in, though. And this is a very, very good performance so far from Matt Swain, who would be extending his championship lead. Now, I thought for a moment there was a driver running wide, or was my eyes just playing tricks on me? I think my eyes are playing tricks on me on the 16th of December at the end of a very long season. Let's have a quick look at some incidents we've seen out there. Tom Holland has had a spin in the Warwick Motorsports Aston Martin, I think. I was having a look down the inside of Matt Hale. Just catches the curb and spins it there. Very easily done here at Portimao. We'll get back on circuit and emerge back on track. Atty Cooper had a spin as well. This was a little bit earlier before the moment that we saw with that big group from around 7th, 8th, 9th. Those are your moments out on track. On board once again with Tom Roberts, Reeve.
Yep, still controlling this race. We're not seeing any R8 acrobatics, shall we say, or R8 synchronized spinning, as is been the case throughout the rest of the field. We've got all Mustangs up at the front end here. 20 minutes or so to go in the race now. Roberts controls things. Swain and Sanders looking like they could be on for a little bit of a squabble, although the delta is pretty similar between the top 3 at the moment. Roberts heading on through, using as much of the track as he does. There's plenty of track to use here, of course, as we head back up one last hill for probably the flattest points at any phase of this circuit, really, before you drop back down into turn 1 again.
Indeed. So we're getting towards the point of the race where we will start seeing some drivers coming into the pits. I think Rob Crawford might be in for some service.
And this could be a really smart move from Crawford, actually, if I can try and get my words out this evening, because he was starting to get caught up in that battling. It was all getting a little bit elbows out. He can remove himself from that action, potentially go for a little bit of an undercut to just get some, just separate himself from that situation. Could be in a very good situation for the rest of the race.
Well, here is that battle that he was involved with. This is Mike Weddle trying to find his way back ahead of Cameron Watson. You're absolutely right, Reeve. It's good fun. It's great for us commentators as neutrals in the virtual box, but this will be costing them a little bit of time here and there, and it all adds up across the course of a 40-minute race. Watson was going to have a go back there. Watson, of course, in the top 3 in the Clubman standings at the start of the evening. So lap 12, not out of 26. The number of laps set to 26 just ensures that the race will definitely run to a 40-minute time limit, not a laps time limit. Other drivers in. You can see that Tom Holland has also come to the pits, as has Simon Delameyer. No, Simon Delameyer has just had a bit of an off track, but no major incidents. Here's your race leader then, who's pulled his lead back out to 0.8 of a second here, Reeve. Very intriguing first half of this race, in my opinion. Did look like Matt Swain was starting to do Matt Swain-like things. Reel it down, 8 tenths, 7 tenths, 6 and 5. And then he's just gone back towards Roberts the last couple of laps. So maybe a bit of tactics being played here by a driver that you know very, very well, just to maintain that gap.
Absolutely. Consistency, as we've said, is going to be key in these races, and it's all going to come down to how these drivers execute the upcoming pit phases. Who's going to be first to crack? That is going to be the big question. Decision point here at this circuit, as you mentioned in driver's briefing, Andrew, is very minimal here at Portimao. You've got to be pre-planning your pit lane entry here and your pit lane manoeuvres in general, shall we say, because it is not the most forgiving of pit lanes to enter this at this circuit. Yeah,
it's a point that was raised in the championship Discord before we got going, that it's a very, very short run into the pits here. It's very easy to get yourself a speeding in pit lane penalty or something of that description, and the exit's not particularly easy either, going straight into turn 1. We'll park that discussion for now because Swain must have heard us, because Swain is coming back at Roberts. The lead gap is now back under 0.5 of a second for the first time in a few laps. On the lights there, flashing away, that is Sam Dimolo directly ahead of the race leaders in another of the Mustangs. So this is going to be an even bigger problem now for Tom Roberts. He's going to catch Dimolo here, no disrespect to Sam, but these drivers are a little bit quicker than him. He's going to be getting a little bit of dirty air as well. That's well driven by Sam Dimolo. Well done, absolutely spot on from one of the admin team members of how to serve a blue flag. But that exchange has allowed Swain to close now to the closest to the lead that he's been throughout the course of this race. The gap is now only 3.5 tenths.
Yep, that is no slight against Dimolo as well. He did everything, as you say, that he needed to do. I think he picked a very good point at the circuit to do so, but that is just the nature of GT racing. Sometimes you're going to have to encounter traffic. You're going to have these moments where things are going to close up and be a little bit precarious to negotiate, and that's exactly what we've had with our top end here. Now, Roberts under pressure, the most pressure he's arguably endured since lap 1. It's Mustang on Mustang. Let's have a look at how Swain has a look to size up his opponent and find a way on through as we head around the right-hander. Apexing beautifully there, both drivers dropping down the hill. And Roberts controlled things quite nicely for the time being. Obviously, as they get closer and begin to battle ever so more, this is just going to bring Sanders right back into the mix here. The gap is now less than a second between our top 3 as we head towards the high-speed end of the lap.
And the other interesting element of this is going to be fuel usage as well. We have seen with these GT3s over the course of this championship and in previous years as well, that if you're a driver who's been able to just sit in the toe of another for the first part of the race, sometimes it can make the difference to go 1 lap longer and just be stationary that crucial amount of time less and be able to do a bit of an overcut. There is one of the back markers just getting out of the way. That was Atiku. Oh, that's a little bit of a dangerous spot to be coming to a full and complete stop. I know what people's trying to do there, but doesn't want to do that in future. Meanwhile, things unchanged at the front of the field. We are now starting to see some more conventional pit stops. Ridevold's in, Ellis is in, Walker is in. I'm hearing that Tom Holland is out of this race, had already used the fast repair, then got steering alignment issues, I think possibly off that curb hit that we saw earlier on. So Holland is out of this race. Will still be able to take part in course of race number 2. More pit activity. I think Jack Mitchell-Lowe is in. We'll start to see Sam Spinells now start to come back up the order. So we'll see whether that strategy of pitting earlier and running cleanly is going to reward Sam Spinell on the basis of what we're seeing so far? I think the answer is yes. He's jumped a number of drivers already on your timing tower on the left-hand side of your screen. This continues to be a battle that we cannot take our eyes off, though. Roberts versus Swain versus Sanders. Sam Sanders just coy at the back of this group right now, not showing his cards at the minute. Going through the last corner once again, trying to use all of the track, trying to hook in that inside curb. Roberts goes for another lap, as does Swain, as does Sanders, unchanged once again in the top three.
Yep, Sanders, a driver who will benefit pretty substantially from the phenomenon of slipstream and fuel saving that you mentioned, Andrew, because, well, Swain might have benefited so far in this race, but Sanders, just pinning it back a couple of car lengths, isn't in the midst of battle. He's possibly lifting and coasting through certain parts, which you can do here at Portimao. You can use those downhill slopes to your benefit. Might just be waiting until those rivals out in front drop into the pits, as we have some pit lane activity involving Max Andrews here now. Might just be waiting for those top two to drop into the pits and then just think, right, I've got a bit of spare fuel in the tank, I've got some clean air, let's set some really quick laps and build a bit of a decent gap.
There's a bit of damage on the front end of Max's car there as well. I mean, it'll get repaired, but something's gone on out lap there. Just to go to a replay, your screen's probably gone black again, Reeve, don't worry.
Oh, it's caught up now, it's all good.
Murray Adams down the inside. What happens here? Oh, he just spins it again.
Ooh.
That's happening a lot with the Mustang tonight. The back end just seems to decide, no, don't want to grip up anymore. So just a little spin there.
I remember that at the Nürburgring as well. It seems to be a Mustang trait. They must think they're at Cars and Coffee or something.
Back with our race leaders then. Tom Roberts still ahead of Swain, still ahead of Sanders. Clear road ahead right now for the number 66. Will we see this car peel into the pit lane at the end of this lap? We'll find out in a split second. Yes, we will. And in comes Swain as well. Now, this could be where the pit lane advantage comes to Swain. How much fuel has been saved by the championship leader sitting in the tow of the number 66 for the last, what would you say, Reeve, 24 minutes or so? Sam Sanders as well. How much fuel has he saved so far in this race? Could this be the race-defining point for these three? They'll be doing, or they'll have done their calculations. Everybody's in on this one, by the way. De Havilland, Saunders, Adams, Weddle, Shawnee, Vines, Alston, Adey. They've all done it. Roberts gets off of his grid hatching first. There we go then. So no was the answer. Swain was not able to do a little bit of an overcut on fuel in the pits, was not able to go a lap further than the race leader. Slijepcevic is now officially the race leader from Watson, but those two yet to pit, Reeve.
Yep, still nicely executed pit stop from both drivers there, and this becomes a really crucial phase of this race, which you can really make the difference if you're an experienced iRacing competitor. This warm-up phase now, getting those tyres back up to temperature, getting yourself ready to go full pace around the track once again. These drivers, as I say, very experienced Premier drivers. I'm sure they'll be ready to go in no time. Slijepcevic leading from Watson, obviously involved in that fantastic battling that we saw earlier on. But here is Tom Roberts, your de facto race leader, as we go back on board with the Aston Martin of Slijepcevic, who is looking pretty comfortable out there, has no major challenges right now, and dives into the pits. Yeah, does so indeed, as expected. Good work from Axel there to get the fuel to go one lap further than everybody else. Has he got a slot back out into? Probably just ahead of James de Havilland at the moment, who's sixth on the road. Cam Watson, I suspect, will be in on this lap as well. No, goes around again. What is Cam Watson doing with his fuel? My goodness me, this is never seen before, that a BMW driver is being efficient. And, I don't know what you mean.
Exactly. But he's taking the race lead. Cameron Watson with, well, it'll be less than 10 minutes to play by the time he's in. Slijepcevic back out on circuit, and that should be a net fourth place. He has got back out ahead of James de Havilland. And tell you what, Reeve, if that top three start trading bits of track back and forth. Slips is out of this one for the race win.
No, absolutely not. That extra lap that he was able to ring out with the Aston could play really important to him in the final phase of this race. Watson as well, to, as you say, draw out that extra time on track from that BMW. I wonder if it is I believe it is the smallest engine competing out on track. It is a 3-litre car. I wonder if its fuel usage does actually have a notable advantage. We have a similar car on the road in our household, and I can tell you, not a fuel efficient car in that regard, but I imagine that in the world of GT3s, probably up there.
I don't have the data, but I do hear that steam engines in the Victorian era were probably more efficient than that thing. But the BMW
I think we get
better.
17 to the gallon out of ours in the road.
I thought the transit that I had for the move on Saturday was bad at 30. Never mind. Anyway, back to racing. Less than 10 minutes of this race to go. Let's have a little bit of a rundown of the classes, because we've not done that for a while as Cam Watson comes into the pit. So we'll hand... well, I'll tell you what, someone might have done a bit of a wizard's job here on the strategy. We'll see where Cam Watson files back out into, because right now Tom Roberts has the lead in Premier. We know all about that. But I think the leader in Clubman is going to be Sam Spinell. Sam's going to be wanting to get qualifying suspensions more often now. He did make his pit stop very early. It's the end of the season. We've got to that point of the year. Sam, is he going to take the lead here? I think he is. He's going to take the lead in Clubman. Now, this is where I now start to question myself. Has Sam Spinell got enough fuel to get to the end of this race? If he has, that is inspired, and that is a great turnaround from a very difficult position. Sam was quick in the free practice session. He was high up the leaderboard. This could be similar to 2 weeks ago when he nearly snatched overall pole position away with some very clever reading of the conditions on a drying circuit at Zolder. This could be just the kind of result that reignites Sam Spinell's Clubman Championship bid. He's got 8 minutes to run in this one and is now confirmed as your leader in Clubman. In intermediate, it's still Rob Crawford, but Matthew Shawn is not too far behind. You'll just see him there, just coming over the top of the hill in the blue and orange Ferrari in the 214. And then in the rookie category, it's Daniel Cook at the moment who has control of that one in this particular race. It's Ronald Grossman, a recovering Ronald Grossman, just behind Jack Mitchell-Lowe and Colin Ward, second and third in the rookie stakes at the moment. So good to see actually that is another good run for Jack Mitchell-Lowe. Very experienced in MX5 competition. Not experienced in real life, I should say. Not very experienced. In fact, I bet no experience at all for Jack, unless he's a very lucky boy and he hasn't told me about such experience in a GT3 machine doing, and still very new to iRacing as well. So that's why he's in the rookie category, even though he's done a good amount of racing in real life. He's just trying to get past David Whitehouse here in the Mind Charity Ferrari. Kind of nice races David having at the moment. Solid in the top 5 in intermediate, continuing to look to score some good points here. Right, back at the front of the field, still unchanged this one, Reeve. Half a second between Roberts and Swain. We wondered whether Roberts was playing some smart tactics earlier on and just being able to dig deep and find a little bit of extra pace. I think he's going to have to do so again here. Swain less than 4 tenths behind now.
Yeah, this has been, I mean, I doff my hat to both drivers in this one throughout this race. Although Swain looks to be getting closer and closer. We head around the left-hander down towards turn 7 in just a moment. What can Swain do as he closes up to within a car length now? As I say, congratulations to both drivers in this one. It's been a really strong race. Sorry, that wasn't turn 7 at all. Got me positioning wrong there. But this has been a turnaround for Tom Roberts as well. I'm going to be very brave here. I know my past commentary curses with University of Liverpool BUKC drivers hasn't been the strongest, but last time Tom Roberts was on pole, didn't quite go his way.
Nope.
This seems to be much more positive as we head around the first couple of corners, bit of lap traffic to negotiate, but Roberts feeling that pressure, but still not relenting. All but might have just opened up the inside there to Swain as we run through the top end of Sector 1. Swain is very much keeping Tom Roberts honest, isn't he? As we now head down towards turn 5, it becomes a drag race. Swain goes to the outside, Roberts defends the inside, late on the brakes for Roberts. Could that give a switchback though to Swain? It all comes down to who gets the better run out of that 5th corner, and so far Roberts is safe, but the question is for how long.
Yeah, this is what Matt Swain's been superb at so far this season, of making wins from positions where he's making... Oh, no spun! Oh, I was about to say he's been the one who's made the others work hard and make mistakes. Matt Swain, for the first time this season, gets himself in trouble. That's the race win gone. It's a spot of the race podium gone as well. Robert Sanders Slijepcevic now 1, 2, 3. Well, how about that? Matt Swain is human after all. Whoa, Craig Brown catches one up there. He doesn't lose out to his immediate championship rival Max Andrews, but that shows, again, the Mustang. Let's have a look at it once more as to what happened here for Swain. Was it the back end just stepping out? This is a repeat showing of it. Through into the double right-hander.
I don't believe there was any contact.
No, I don't think there was. There might have been the slightest little touch there. But again, the back end of the Mustang catches another driver out, your championship leader Matt Swain.
Maybe it's not a Mustang, it must be another Ford product, a booking Bronco perhaps, as we head on to the next lap, because yeah, we've seen a lot of that now this evening, and all of a sudden Roberts, I was about to say, can rest easy, but there is still a Porsche 911 just behind him. Sam Sanders is closing up and we still have 3.5 minutes to go in this race, so let's not say all is settled yet for this race. They've got a fantastic view on board now with Sam Sanders. We head down into the 5th corner yet again. It was around this phase of the previous lap where it all went a little bit wrong for the previous driver in P2. A few more car lengths separating P1 and P2 this time around, but Tom Roberts surely can begin to sniff out of that podium. But that was a fantastic run for Sam Sanders through turn 8 there, closed up very nicely indeed, and now has to ride the undulations down towards Sector 3.
Did see it 2 weeks ago, and it was one of the experienced hands in the championship taking the fight to the newcomers. It was Murray Adams going up against Matt Swain and Max Andrews. Could Sam Sanders do likewise tonight against another of the newcomers to the league? Sam Dimolo's just ahead there, a lap down. Just before we get on to the last lap. Thank you, Tim. Another question. No, you won't get in trouble for that one. Yeah, get on the Discord. Get talking to... Send some messages to @C100 iRACING if you've got ideas. Put them in the general discussions as well. We are going to be looking at the far side of Christmas, getting some races together for once this championship wraps itself up. What, end of February, start of March. We don't want to have 6 months of nothing happening in the community. Obviously, there won't be the big prizes on store that we've got in this one. So that's one and done for the year. But yeah, definitely in terms of different formats, different cars, get your ideas in, and we can start to formulate some things together. I saw one today. I was just filing through SimGrid very briefly. We'd have to ask the drivers who's got what, but I saw a competition where it was GT3 based, 6 rounds, and you've got to use, like, I think they picked 6 of the current GT3 cars. This was on another platform, not iRacing. But basically you've got to run a different GT3 car at every single round. So no complaining about BOP. And, well, there is plenty of complaining about BOP, but you know what I mean, in terms of, like, you've got to use the car that maybe doesn't quite have the BOP advantage, or you've got to have your BOP advantage knowledge for track by track to win out in that one. So let us know what you want to do in future. Meanwhile, though, we're about to go onto the last lap here, Reeve, and this one is definitely not done. Sam Sanders through the traffic. has massively closed in on Tom Roberts.
Yeah, absolutely. You could tell, you could see the flashing headlights there. That's been going on for a couple of laps now. Sanders using every weapon in his arsenal to try and force an error from Roberts at this phase of the race. As you mentioned, Andrew, the traffic really coming into play now. Tom, on his final lap of this race, has hit a really unfortunate part of the field where there's quite a few lapped cars now navigating their way around this circuit. I suspect tyres not at their absolute best. We saw the back end of that Mustang a little bit wayward heading in to turn 3 and turn 4 there. We're back underway though. Obviously we know what the Mustang is capable of doing at this circuit. It's very fast, but it seems to be on a bit of a knife edge. As you say, Sanders closing right up, late on the brakes in that 911, heads around turn 5 and tries to close up, but gets a little bit squirrely on corner exit there. This could just play into the hands of Tom Roberts, yeah, but that traffic made things just a little bit more precarious.
Yeah, Johnny Pinder did a very good job there of getting out of the way of his Liverpool BUKC teammate there to make sure that he could make it as easy as possible for Tom Roberts to bring this victory home. We have seen the Ford Mustang catch out quite a few of the top running drivers so far in this first race of the evening, and this one isn't done yet. There's still another couple of corners that you would very much describe as traction zones, where you've got to be careful with your foot on the... Oh, there's a little bit of a contact there between Dimolo and Pinder in that position just off the lead lap. But if Tom Roberts can bring this one home, this has been a very mature drive. Sam Sanders is looking to reignite his title bid with this result through the final corner. I think Roberts is going to have this. Sanders is not going to have the ponies to catch up the Mustang on this occasion. Over the line, race 1 goes to Tom Roberts. Great win there from pole position. He'll start in that same position for race number 2. Sanders P2, Axel Slijepcevic back on form there P3. Matt Swain 4th. Will be disappointed, Reeve, but is still going to be ahead of Max Andrews, his closest title rival, Andrews home P5.
Yeah, absolutely. Swain, I'm sure, kicking himself, but has to remember, we're talking about one corner exit out of 40 minutes worth of otherwise brilliant racing and some fantastic fighting at the top end of the pack there. We're on board with Sam Spinelli, who had a remarkable drive in this one. I think that punishment of not qualifying here at Portimao was actually a bit of a boon. It seemed to work really well, just staying in that clean air, just letting everyone else have their own battling out in front has done wonders there. But yeah, Roberts in the end, a pole to win. Sounds very easy, but it was anything but.
Yeah, so apologies, we missed that there was a change in the lead and intermediates as well. Matthew Shawnee has taken another win in that category. So really, really good stuff there. Just trying to find where, I think that, will that possibly, no, we found it. Found where that happened. So let's have a look at that change in intermediates. Now, did Rob Crawford have a slowdown? That wasn't as fierce a fight as I thought it was going to be. But either way, that's how it was done. Matthew Shawnee will extend his lead in the intermediate standings at this point of the evening. Remember, again, if you've got a good score in the first night, you've really got to bank it in with a strong score in the second race. Daniel Cook got things done there in the rookie category. Right, we'll take a short break. There's a 10-minute session for the drivers to maybe try a few things out before we go to race 2. Don't go anywhere. More racing here in the CLUB100 iRacing Championship coming up after this.
But Andrew Mather, it's your first Kart Masters, so please bring them to the start.
15 minutes plus 1 lap are underway for the Grand Prix in Minimax 2025. It's a very good start for Emerson McAndrew. One of the SFRs is taking to the grass in the early stages, but apart from that, it looks pretty good. Finding the grip. 3-4 corners to go. What a win this is going to be for George Edgar. George Edgar wins gold. Gold for the United Kingdom. What a drive. Yes, it's not done yet, is Daniel Ferguson. He could have 14 positions, and here he goes down the inside on Ozzie Gibson. Ozzie Gibson tries to fight it around the outside, but nothing is stopping Daniel Ferguson in this race, particularly through turns 3 and 4 as Phillips goes for the lead. Phillips down the inside, and he takes it away from his teammate. What a move by Jesse Phillips.
He's coming back,
Cradham's going to give it him back. Here's the point where they've got to be careful. How many chains have we seen pop off there through turn 3 and 4? Everything was fine. As out of the race, is it Archie Owen who's out of the race?
It's Evan Purcell
It's Evan Purcell. They've both gone. Here we go. It was always going to happen when it stacks up. Archie Owen and Evan Purcell's weekends and hopes of Miami Winter Cup victory are over.
Let's head across to iRACING, who's the first of our top 4 in the championship. Eli, yes, it's not pole position, but you are the highest ranked driver on the grid of those right at the sharp end of the championship. You've cut the lead to William Kalesia behind. Are you feeling you can do this? Can you take the championship lead today?
Yes.
So final lap board is going to come out now. Harry Bartle sees it, looking to take his second win of the year. First win, first podium visit it would be as well since all the way back at Dunk as well. Tingley defends to the inside. I don't think Higgins is going to get involved in that though, because he has a 7-point advantage. But out of the final corner, Harry Bartle through the final 2 turns will take his second win of the year, will take second place in the championship and the place in Bahrain. But Matthew Higgins, from 2 weeks ago, a horrendous incident could have put pay to his season. It didn't happen for him 1 week ago at the World Championships, but here at PF International, a circuit where he's had so many successes over the years, he can now say for the first time he is Reeve Tools Motorsport UK Senior Rotax British Champion.
Let's go with Maria Neto around her home circuits on this year's calendar, the Cartodromo International Algarve. The lap starts quick with high speeds through the right-handers of turns 1 and 2 before a tricky stop on the brakes into another right-hander, turn 3.
This is the part of the course though where Kenzo Craigie has been really strong for the past 10 laps or so. Noah Baglin has got to hold it together. He's got to pick his line very carefully off of the Litchfield Bridge. This could be the key point into hairpin number 1. Baglin goes right, Craigie goes left. Craigie, is nearly off the road. Both of them are off the road. Craigie's going to look for the switchback. Hairpin 2 is going to be another opportunity for them. Backlund goes defensive again. Craigie's got his node ahead. Can he get on the power? He's off the road. He's completely off the road. He's still side by side of Backlund and Craigie through the Fullerton S's. What a finish we're having here at PF International. It's still not done. You can overtake everywhere around the circuit. Craigie looks down the inside. He's got the lead. Welcome back, everybody, to Portimao. You're watching live coverage of round 6 of the 2025-2026 season of the Club 100 iRacing Championship. Andrew Mather and Reeve Taylor on commentary duties for you tonight for the last time in 2025, whether it be in sim or full metal racing. Reeve, what have your highlights been of 2025? What's going to stay in the memory for a long time from what you've called this year?
Oh, some really good ones to pick from, to be honest. I mean, Cadets and Juniors North, Ella Park, fantastic end to the season there. That was a really strong day. Sorry, did I say Ella Park? I didn't mean Ella Park. I meant Warden Law.
Warden Law.
Yeah, but that led me on to my next one, which was Ella Park, which was a really good round, a track that I hadn't commentated on yet. That was really good fun. Trying to think what else. Rissington was nice. It was nice to visit there as well. And then also, we've got to say this as well. Nice to finally take part in some Club 100 sim racing action. Knockhill was, I imagine, a stressy one from a steward's point of view, but quite a lot of fun to spectate upon otherwise.
Well, at least at the moment, it feels like it's been better tonight. Drivers, please keep it together. Keep it together.
Don't commentators curse that now as well.
Curse the stewards review that'll start straight up after this. Yeah, I think it's hard to. I think for me, probably Kart Masters. Kart Masters was superb. To be involved with that was amazing. On a Club 100 front, to see a couple of drivers who've come through from Club 100 involved in that was really, really special as well. You know, the likes of Jacob Underhill and Blake Southern having great runs there. So yeah, and then again, some really cool places to have visited across the course of the last 12 months, here in real life included. So I'm trying to remember, there was actually some GT3 racing on that weekend on the full circuit when myself, Anthony Jordan, the rest of the hard-working RGMC team were just over the hill to the left of where we're looking at now, as Sam Dimlow's just getting a few extra laps in the warm-up that's not really a warm-up. Yeah, no, that was really, really special. So, all looking forward to a good 2026. There have been a few questions of, well, when are we streaming, broadcasting Club 100 for 2026? All will be revealed. It's going to be a similar kind of plan to what we've seen in recent years. So it'll be selected rounds with the full Alpha Live treatment. Myself will be involved. You'll be involved, Reeve. And we'll have some other folk involved as well, as it's that time of year where the sausage is being made behind the scenes. So don't worry, it'll be announced on the Club 100 socials, because we need to keep the socials going with something during the off season. But it won't be that long as well before
No.
Well, technically there is one bit of business left for 2025, which is the awards on Saturday the 10th of January at the National Conference Centre. I have to always get that right. It's the one at the Motorcycle Museum, not the NEC, but it is over the road from the NEC. Parking will be easier this year because there's no Autosport show this year, or this coming year. But I think they may have sold tickets already in the office out. But in case they haven't, if you do want to come to the awards, Saturday the 10th of January, and it's not just for those who are picking up a big pot. Anybody who has raced in Club 100 in the last year is welcome. It was a really, really good shindig for the 2024 season that kicked off things for 2025. And then before we know it, it'll be season opener time on my birthday weekend down at Buckmore Park. And we'll go around and do it all again for 2026 in the Club 100 world.
Exciting stuff indeed, you say. Yeah, it does feel like a short winter break.
It gets shorter and
This
shorter
year?
every year.
Yeah, looking forward to the action, of course. A short break that we're currently taking from the action, as we've been provided a lovely backdrop by Sam Dimlow.
Yes,
so thank
we
you,
have.
Sam, for giving us some action. A couple more drivers out on track as well. Looks like Daniel Cook just in the foreground as well. Eric Mignon currently heading down the start-finish straight. Last minute kind of setup tweaks perhaps, or maybe just getting a bit more of a feel or testing a few things out on circuit before heading into the second race.
Getting some more news of things that happened in race number 1. Murray Adams got hit by the commentary curse, ran out of fuel in pit lane. I think we talked about the one with Tom Holland. Hello to John Adey. Hello to Steve Hicks as well, who notes Daytona 24 hours and Bathurst 12 hours not far away into next year. If only there was a Bathurst GT3 round and the Club 100 scheduled to dial in. Oh wait, yes there is. Yes there is indeed. And
I've had a drive of that track in the GT3.
Yes.
Thought I'd give it a go with
It's
Tom
great,
Roberts
isn't
was
it?
good. Yeah, Tom and Johnny were very helpfully giving me some pointers and telling me how to make a car drive in iRacing. It didn't end well for me.
No.
So I'll stay here. I'll stay on this side
Stay
of
on
things.
this side. I do remember me and Howard a couple of years ago, we had a go at the special event and there was a cataclysmic pile-up on the run-up to turn 2. So much so that I think we then stopped that go and then went again with another one of the later sessions for the special events. But all of that's still to come. If you want to get involved as well, if you're watching this back and thinking, oh, can we get a bit of a team together for Club 100 iRacing for the special events? Again, head to the Discord. All of that can be discussed in there. It'd be good to have a few set to go for Daytona. We've had some in previous years as well, so some of them have done pretty nicely in those events. Right, that is the warm-up that's not really warm-up. Is it a warm-down? Is it just a chance to go for a wee for some? Most people do that. Let's get into race number 2. Let's show you through the grid for this one. Of course, it's the result from race number 1, but if you're just joining us, spoiler alert, this is how they finished in race number 1 before any penalties are applied, of course. This is just purely track position or anything that iRacing has decided late on. Tom Roberts will start this one from pole position, looking to potentially get a perfect score for the night. He's got 120 points on the score already. He's not got them banked yet, because of course you've got to get to the end of the race night before you can say that. Sam Sanders alongside on the front row. Axel Slijepcevic ahead of Matt Swain. That's going to be a good battle going down into turn number 1. Row number 3 will be Max Andrews and James de Havilland for this next race. Sam Spinell starts at the front of the grid in this one. Brilliantly works his way back up through the field after the quali suspension. Starts this one on the inside of row number 4 and is joined by Adam Brown. Cam Watson and Tom Saunders, they will be next up on row number 5. Mike Wennell starts on row 6 and is joined by fellow Scotsman Murray Adams. Running down then onto the 7th row of the grid, we will find the first of the intermediates, but not before Magnus Rudevall takes P13. Matthew Shawnee is the first of those intermediates, starting P14. Andy Alston and Rob Crawford up next on row number 8. So that should be a good battle between Shawnee and Crawford. Lawrence Vines and Tim Ellis are inside a top 20 that's completed by the 10th row of the grid. That is John Adey and Ronald Grossman. Grossman, of course, had a bad start to race number 1. First of the rookies, Dan Cook. Daniel Cook starts P21 in this one, is joined by Jack Eyre, who's also started from the back of the field in race number 1. It's then David Whitehouse and Jack Mitchell-Lowe taking us through to the end of row number 12. Ollie Walker and James Fremont start on row 13. Colin Ward, Eric Mignon, row 14. Matt Hale, Johnny Pinder complete the top 30. Sam Dimolo, Craig Brown, Simon Delamere, Tom Holland, Atty Cooper and Drow Castro complete the 36 runners in this one, although I believe we will not see Cooper, we will not see Castro. They are both not at the moment showing us out on track. Let's find the right button. There it is. Get that off the screen, because it's time for a race start here. Reeve getting ready for race number 2. Take us through this one to turn 1, if you will.
This will be an exciting one. This is pretty much exactly how the order looked after the first couple of corners on lap 1 in the previous race. So it'll be interesting to see how their race starts do differ heading into this second one this evening. As you mentioned, Swain versus Slijepcevic is going to be an exciting one to behold. Swain, of course, a little bit on the back foot after that previous race start. Sanders was electric off that race start, as was Roberts. They've got it all to do again, though, here at Portimao as they navigate the final part of the lap before we get to go racing, controlled by our pole sitter before we go green flag. Let's see how it all shapes up. Drivers weaving around then to get that last bit of heat into the tyres so they can go as brave as possible into that first corner. Our front row heads on to the start-finish straight, and we're good to go racing in just a few short moments. Safety car dives in to the pits then, and it is a pedal to the metal as Tom Roberts takes us to start this race. It's green flag action, and we see Sanders under pressure from Swain already. Roberts once again looking pretty comfortable with a decent gap out in front. Slijepcevic now fancies his chances going down the inside on Swain. Watch out though, there's another Mustang just behind. Sam Spinell's in the mix here at the top end of the mid-pack. Roberts still controls things nicely, but Sanders certainly closing up as we head through the third corner of the lap. Swain not too preoccupied with what's going on elsewhere behind him. Adam Brown's having looked down the inside of Slijepcevic, goes a little bit too wide, gets a little bit squirrely in fact, and goes near the gravel. We get further back though, it's Rudevall running us down towards turn 5. It's getting very eclectic in this mid-pack as we have big contact there. Saunders off and into the gravel. An unfortunate way to start this race. Oh, Shawnee as well. We're starting to see a few cars head towards this gravel.
Yeah, Matthew Shawnee in trouble. All there's further cars getting involved down there. I think James Fremont, David Whitehouse, they're all involved there, and Shawnee's cut to the pits. Oh, so that is a development in the intermediate ranks. We'll come back to that in a bit, because Sam Sanders is on the attack in the early stages of this race. Sat in second place in the early stages of race number 1, lost that position to Matt Swain, and then just sat behind the two Mustangs for the rest of it. Is Sam Sanders going to go for a bit of a bigger go earlier on in this race to get track position ahead of Tom Roberts? It's easier said than done as they wind through the penultimate corner, then through the long right-hander to complete a lap here at the Algarve International Circuit here. Oh, big snap for Sam Sanders. Just about got that together, but that's going to allow Matt Swain back through. Tom Roberts has had another let-off there. Sam Sanders was just winding that up to get ready for an attack towards turn number 1, but the back axle said no.
Yeah, typical Porsche 911 stuff there. That rear end just all of a sudden snapping when you least expect it. Roberts controls things then, and I suspect might be feeling a little bit confident that he could have this for at least a few moments, because Swain versus Sanders, if Sanders can get back into a bit of confidence in that car, they're probably going to be fighting pretty close, pretty tooth and nail as we head down towards the 5th corner yet again. Although saying that, Swain is still pretty close. Sanders not too far behind at all. It's going to have to be very careful how these drivers negotiate this now. Do they choose to keep their cars close to the chest, wait until later into the race to scrap out, or do they just go all guns blazing early on? Roberts controlling things quite nicely. Sanders hasn't gone for any major attacks on Swain just yet. He might be waiting for Swain to mount that charge against Roberts in an attempt to be fighting for that top spot of the podium later on into the race.
Are you ready for the incident replay recap, kids? Aye, aye, Captain. Here we go. Jack Mitchell-Lowe on lap 1. This was down at turn number 1. I think Matt Hale and Johnny Pinder might have been involved in this as well. This was all down. Oh, yeah, round goes the Aston Martin. Matt Hale does well to avoid it. Johnny Pinder joins in. That was that one. Tom Saunders, we saw this live. Let's have another view of it, though, to see what the cause of this one was at second viewing. Oh, a little bit of a tap. In fact, more than a little tap from Rob Crawford was the trigger of that one. Then there was the David Whitehouse, James Fremont one. This was down into the same corner. Now, of course, Matthew Shawnee in the Parachutes and Carrots Ferrari ahead. That's going to be the original cause, but it's a completely separate incident. Whitehouse on cold tyres. Oh, nice pirouette there, Dave. Went all the way around James. Matthew Shawnee's crash as well we'll have a look at. Was there damage on the rear left, sorry, perhaps? Caught in the gravel, maybe out of alignment. Oh, yeah, that looks like a rear left as bitten the dust there and jumped to the pits. Jack Mitchell-Lowe had a spin again. Is physics going to take over with the big V8 at the front of the car? No, it's the back end of the Aston Martin that's going to go around. Well avoided there by another of the Aston Martins. Apologies, I think that was Tom Holland going around the back. And Jack Eyre has had an incident as well. This was on lap number 2, coming out of turn 2 and over the hill. We know what's going to happen here. Mustang strikes again round the back end. Everybody does very, very well to avoid. Good driving in the circumstances by everybody. Oh, and one more just for good measure. Matt Hale has had a spin in the lone Acura. He's been on the left way again. Back end of the car surely going to come around here. Oh, that's a good one. Off the circuit, gets on the brakes. Classic Club 100 recovery. That's how it's done. Matt Hale continues on his merry way. There you go. Those are all the incidents. Back with the race leaders. Nothing's changed here. Still Roberts from Swain from Sanders.
Nicely covered, Andrew. I suspect that all the other models of car have got jealous of the Mustang for being the only one that's doing the rear end loss of grip spin. So they've all given it a go at the start of this race, but still, I must say, the Mustang definitely doing those the best and on top as it stands. Not the issue, though, for our top 2 so far in this race. That might be the commentator's curse already as they head into sector 1 yet again. Good view here from Max Andrews. From his Ford Mustang, head around through turn 4, rise the crest, which could upset the back end a little bit if you're not careful before we drop down once again into the middle sector of the lap. I mean, we actually lose sight of the battle in front. That's just how steep the elevation changes are here, and we get a good view of Sam Sanders closing up quite nicely on Matt Swain, very much putting that Mustang under pressure, and Roberts able to break away as we jump on board with the rear bumper shot from Roberts' car. This is going to be a real good insight into the lines that the drivers are taking as they navigate the way around this Portuguese circuit, and also gives you just an impression of just, again, I've said it so many times this evening, just how much this track is like a roller coaster. I imagine if it's one thing like this on camera, to drive it in a real-life car will be a completely different situation if the Nordschleife has anything to go by. But Roberts controls things very nicely indeed. If anything, though, Swain and Sanders close up.
Do indeed. Quick side of Cam Watson there, unfortunately down in 30th place. He's had problems in the early stages of this one. Let's have a look at Lawrence Vines. We've not really talked too much about Lawrence in this this race evening. This season, Lawrence, very experienced driver in the BUKC, and it's having a solid run so far in this one as well. P13 right now in the Vines Express. I like that homage livery, very much so. It's got Rob Crawford ahead. This is a big racer field now for those intermediate runners like Crawford, because with Shawnee not out of this race, but a long way down the field, is currently scoring as in 34th position. It's really now imperative for your likes of your Crawfords, your Adies, your Dimelos. It's similar with David Whitehouse down the order as well. They've got to score well now in this race to start clawing some of that deficit back.
Absolutely, as we see Vines having a look down the inside here. Very nice move as the 911 looks a little bit potentially compromised, but Andy Elston we're on board with Andy, who gets a good view of the cars out in front. Sorry, I don't get to see the liveries that Andrew gets to enjoy, so sometimes driver recognition does fail me.
It's all right, we'll work on that. We'll get that fixed for the new year. Oh, this is a really good scrap between these two. Full sight of Vines Express Porsche just ahead of us. Goes a little bit defensive into the next right-hander. Controls that speed well on the apex of the corner. Up and uphill again. This really is a fantastic circuit, and that down the inside is a fantastic move from Andy Elston, but he's not got it done because Vines is going to get back to the inside of the next corner. Holds on to this position. This is a super scrap over 14th place. And I tell you what as well, Tim Ellis is coming into play as well in the blue and yellow McLaren. Big step forward for Tim tonight. This has been a far more consistent run. Seeing that 163 up in the top 20. Over the line to start another lap then. Side by side between Vines and Alston into turn one. That's a brave one from Alston, and Vines is offered no option but to concede the position. Vines is going to have a little look down the inside into turn two and into half defensive as well, ahead of Ellis and ahead of Adi. But my oh my, that was a mighty move from Andy Alston. Let's cue that one up for another look at how he did it, because I want to see the onboard view of this, because that will have been mighty brave from Andy down into turn one. This is the onboard view of it then. Knows he's got the inside line. He's got to boss the corner as well, and is superbly done by the Scotsman. Yeah. And puts him up into 14th place.
Really on the nose, that looked very confidence-inspiring as he clawed the car into the right hand as we go back on board Ralston for some live footage. Just ahead is Grossman and Crawford as we go back on board with our front runners in this race then. No major change in the order as Swain has found a way back up into second. And Roberts still control things quite nicely. Obviously built on that confidence from race one. But Swain, I imagine, hoping to make amends for how the end of race one went, and is doing a good job of it so far. We head down the start, finish straight. Yet again, a good race start, making up 2 positions, has brought him right back into this race leading fight. Through the first corner we go, and we can see Roberts controlling things very nicely indeed. I'd like to see where Sanders is in all of this. We've seen those Porsches are very handy when it comes to those high-speed braking zones. We run back up towards turn 5 in just a moment. Roberts gaining a little bit, it seems, on our corner exit as we head in to turn 5, although we have seen drivers can go late on the race, claw back all that time, and then it comes a question of how well do you exit the left-hander here before you follow the hill up towards turn 7 and turn 8, where, as I say, a really brave corner can reward you. If you navigate turn 7 well, then you've got that complex down through turn 8 down to turn 10. Back on board though with this action going on earlier on between Alston and Robert Crawford now, as Alston appears to have caught up to Crawford, or Crawford potentially having some issues out on track. Alston flying on through, having a look down the inside. Can he make the move stick? I think he can. Set that up a couple of corners ago, and Alston looks to be just about ahead. It's going to be a bit of a drag race though. Still the overtake not quite done. Crawford still side by side, and just about still in the mix here.
Oh, but contact there
contact
between Crawford and Vines, and both of them out of contention. I don't think there was any intent in that one. I think that was, well, that is what can happen at Portimao sometimes because it's such a wide track. Two drivers going for the same piece of Portuguese real estate at the same time, and that is the result. Hopefully there's not too much damage on them. Let's have another look at that one again. I think Vines is just going to commit down the inside. This was the view of Alston and Crawford. I think there's a little bit of a touch there. Vines caught in a bit of no man's land. Had the back end steps out on Lawrence, and he's got nowhere to go. That's a mistake from the driver of the 100. Real shame. And what did we say earlier about the front runners in intermediate having to keep themselves out of trouble? Well, that has put Crawford down to P20. John Adey is now the leader in the intermediate ranks, whilst Crawford goes wheel to wheel with Jack Eyre. Jack Eyre having a very strange night. This is not going to be good for Jack Eyre's hopes in the championship. This is scrapping there down for 19th place. A little bit of a recap from a few laps ago. Your screen might go a little bit wibbly at this point. Reeve, I think there's been an incident for Craig Brown. This was the onboard look of it. And, oh, back end just steps out. We've seen that one before. And I think he's able, oh, now does he, oh, that's very strange. I think he's got stuck down in that part of the course. Gets going again. A bit of a strange one there for Craig Brown, who has now jumped to the pits. So, let's have a little bit of a recap then, as we've gone through 13.5 minutes in this race. Tom Roberts still your race leader from Matt Swain, Sam Sanders. Top of the order at the moment in Clubman. Sam Spinell there running 6th on the road at the moment. It's going to be some really good points for Sam. So what a turnaround this is. Having been suspended from qualifying, he's now looking at having his best night in the championship so far. John Adey is your leader in intermediate. Apologies, I thought he'd gained a position then, but he's still running in 15th place, and then Dan Cook immediately behind there in 16th. More problems. Jack Eyre has had an incident. What was the incident? Is it another Mustang spinneroo? It's into a traction zone. I think we know what's coming in. Again, it just goes. There's not really much that Jack's done wrong there. Has kept it out of the grass. But like we saw with the incident for Craig Brown earlier, was there a subsequent spin? This is just another view of the recovery for Jack Eyre. Drivers know that they've got to get their rejoins right. It's quite a severe penalty if you have an unsafe rejoin. It's better just to wait and pick up the pieces later.
For the driver's sake and for our sakes as well, I do hope that these Mustangs sort themselves out, because I'm beginning to run out of horse-based spin puns.
Very good. So, halfway, no, sorry, not halfway stage of this race yet. Still 5 minutes to go on that one. Biggest mover so far in this race. That award of sorts goes to Ronald Grossman. Up 8 spots.
Oh, watch
so
out
far.
for Pinder and Dimolo as well, actually. 9 places. Yeah, Johnny Pinder, Dimolo, both intermediate drivers, building up through the pack nicely.
They are indeed.
I saw a message from Johnny before. He likened his arrival into this evening's racing a bit like the old Top Gear 24-hour race, where it was all of a sudden just clambering onto the grid, but somehow still making it.
Indeed. Simon Delabert has had a problem out there. Let's have a look at what's happened to the bright yellow Aston Martin. A lot of spins at this corner in recent moments. Yep, there's another one. but Simon just about gathers it together. He'll lose a spot to Tom Holland, but apart from that, no problems there. If you want to get involved for future rounds, 4 more to go this season. I think we are going to open up a few more spots because whilst we've sold out the original 50 entry allocation, we've not had 50 drivers attending in a single round, so we have got, in general, statistical wiggle room to have more entries. I just hope that we don't get everybody turning up in one night and having a grid of 65, because then the PC would explode. But never mind.
Bathurst would be interesting.
Bathurst would be very interesting for that one. But yes, head across to the SimGrid, simgrid.com, search CLUB100 Racing, all of the details are on there. And even if you don't want to take part, particularly at this stage, you just want to be aware of future events, click the follow button on there. Because as I say, we are going to start going into planning mode for what comes up after this. We want to keep the community racing on these midweek nights all the way through the course of 2026. Status quo still very much in action here between the top 3 as it was in race 1, but Max Andrews having a stronger run this time. Reeve did have an incident in the first race, but seemingly has the pace this time in race 2 to stick with this top 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Has not let them leave his sights at any moment in this race. Really 3rd highest position Mustang in the pack. Of course, only that Porsche splitting the difference here. The Mustang does seem to be a bit of a driver favourite as a general trend this season. Obviously a new car to the world of GT3 racing, and I think it's had a generally positive response. I mean, as we can hear from this onboard shot, I mean, I currently can't hear it, but I just know it sounds brilliant. We can hear it from inside this car, and then we got the mix of the 911 in front and everything like that as we get close towards this halfway mark in the race. Likes of Andrews, likes of Sanders, Swain and Roberts now going to be maybe briefly thinking about what their pit lane strategies are going to be looking like as we head on to the start-finish straight yet again. It was really well executed previously by Roberts and Swain, who pitted just when they needed to and were able to execute perfect pit stop, carry on, continue on their battling. We head further back to James de Havilland returning to the series for this round, putting a bit of pressure on Michael Weddle just in front. We saw Michael in the midst of fantastic action earlier on, and it sounds like he's going to be having a few more laps of that in this second race this evening, as well as we do have Prem versus Clubman battling it out, heading through towards the middle sector.
James de Havilland up from the Clubman class last year to being a Premier this year. Don't worry, we'll sort his livery out for next time. I think there has been a bit of back and forth between these two. Yeah, Weddle having a wide moment through the penultimate corner and then using the power to get back round the outside and hold on to the position. My, that's a bit of driving from Michael there. Again, it's quick, but twitchy. On a knife edge, the Mustang again here tonight, as it was at the Nürburgring about a month or so ago. Remaining races this year. Another new circuit for the series, for the championship in its history since 2020. Not in 2 weeks' time. We have a winter break now over the course of the Christmas and New Year festivities. So it'll be 4 weeks' time that the series will be back for round 7 in the MX-5s at Oschersleben. So that is a new circuit for the series, as I say. It is a free circuit as well, which I'm really glad that we can bring more free circuits into the series. Allow that accessibility for everyone. There should be... Your excuses, drivers, for not being part of that one will have to be very good, because it's free car and free track for Oschersleben. Round 8, we'll be back in these GT3s and we'll be at Bathurst. That could be spectacular. Round 9 will then take us to the Virginia International Raceway. We're now The CLUB100 iRacing Championship was not raced there before, but the BUKC iRacing Trophy that we did 2 years ago has in the Formula, or the FF1600s. That will probably be on one of the shorter formats of circuits. Not fully confirmed yet, but keep an eye on the Discord for that one. And then the season finale will be another new circuit. In fact, yeah, it's new circuits for the CLUB100 iRacing Championship all the way to the end now. Road Atlanta will be our scene for the finale of the 2025-2026 season. So if you want to get involved, even if it's just for 1 or 2 races, head across to the sim grid, get on the Discord, send us a message, and we'd love to have you on the grid. Remember the eligibility rules. You've got to either have a racing history, past or present in CLUB100 or the BUKC, be a current driver in the British Pro Kart Endurance Championship, be a team member in a BUKC affiliated university society, the example I always give. UBMRC for Birmingham, good. UB Racing, as much as I love them for former students, no, not eligible. If you remember both, it's fine. You also can be on the grid if you hold a Motorsport UK esports license, including the free one. And we are at that stage of the year where it's license renewal time. So you can get involved in that way. But to remember, if you want to, not just for this championship year, if you've entered now, you probably wouldn't really have a mathematical chance of winning the prize drives. But you've got to be eligible for the prize drive as well, i.e. if you've raced in CLUB100 before, you've had your assessment done, if you've raced to a high level in British Pro Kart Endurance Championship, that should be good as well. If you are, though, completely new through the esports route, you will have to do a test to get your race licence. There we go. There's all the parish notices done on that one. Tim Penny's given us another one. Scottish horse based upon the rear tyres, can they take it no anymore? Yes, indeed. 17 minutes of this race to go here, Reeve. Again, Tom Roberts, I've got to say, what's impressed me a lot tonight has been his composure. He's taking some real hits from the commentary curse potentially right now, but whilst everybody else has been having these problems with the Mustang and the rear axle just not behaving, and he's been under a lot of pressure tonight, he hasn't cracked, and that's not easy to do.
No, absolutely not. I think a few other drivers, I mean, myself included, are going to be thinking, how on earth has he done that? And I imagine maybe his Discord DMs will be getting a little bit preoccupied with new friends, asking, could I look at that setup? It seems to be working very nicely.
Well, this is the thing. Everyone's a fixed setup in this series.
Of course, yeah.
It's the same fixed.sto, which, apologies folks, it's been a while since I've actually actively raced on iRacing. Whichever the GT3 Challenge series is, it used to be sponsored by Fanatec, but I know these things change. Yeah, it's the same for everybody. So he's tamed.
He has
exactly the same setup as everybody else.
He's tamed the same horse as everyone else. I get too used to other series where I commentate on cars that like to roll over, etc. So you have to set them up to not do that.
Indeed. We've got some pit lane activity. Colin Ward is in. Sam Dimolo is in as well. This is all scheduled. Tom Holland has had a crash out there in his Warwick Motorsport Aston Martin. It's this treacherous corner again. And, that was a little bit of a late on that time, but still the same effect. Off to driver's left, bit of a cloud of smoke. And the 395 will rejoin without too many problems. Just about. I think he'll get away with that one. It wasn't the best rejoin. Out comes Colin Ward. He's having another solid night. Really, really intrigued as we get into this second half of the season, Reeve, in this rookie battle. I think this has got the potential to be the best rookie championship title fight we've had so far. Now, to be clear, for folks at home, this will not be for a prize drive, but the prize pot earlier on in the season went up from $250 in iRacing credits to $500. So it's I can't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head, but it's at least the race entry fee for the whole season and a little bit more now for the winner of the rookie category. So they're definitely going to want to race for that, the likes of Colin Ward, Daniel Cook and others.
Yeah, absolutely. And even the prospective rookies who might have just heard our calls about getting involved, etc., thinking, oh, I can't fight for anything right now, by all means do get involved, because what you have seen over the past few seasons is those drivers who join in those final couple of rounds and then hit the ground running for the next season are in the mix and have got that experience, know how the championship works, are in a bit of a rhythm. So by all means do get involved. Now our rookies are, as you say, having a really good run out there at the moment, fighting with some of our instant clubmans often. And as we say, there's some really good tarmac coming up over the next few rounds, which is not something you can say usually if you're from the north.
No, I'll say
it's usually orange, our tarmac.
Yeah. I mean, Oxford's is pretty rubbish as well. Anyway, the tarmac.
Yeah, but yours isn't orange. Yours doesn't have what's-its painted on it.
I nearly fell in a hole in the transit that we rented out the other day. It was like, my goodness. Anyway, Eric Mignon's having a really good night as well, whilst we're talking rookies. Second at the moment in this one. In general, Eric has taken... Oh, sorry, I didn't want to see that. That was my background of a pretty mountain. Eric's had a big step forward so far this year in this season. You know, it's in his third competition within CLUB100 Sim Racing Championships. Joined for the BUKC iRACING Trophy start of 24. Had a bit of a baptism of fire in some of the faster machinery in the full championship this time 12 months ago. But yeah, doing a really, really good job. And I just love the livery because it's a throw to the COMTU Racing Aston Martin in real life. Right, let's talk pit stops for the race leader. Now, we've seen a difference to race number 1 here, Reeve, who was not pitted on this tour of the circuit. Swain and Slijepcevic. Well, Slijepcevic went round first time round in the first race. De Havilland can't quite remember, but more crucially, Swain this time has been able to eke another fuel lap out. This could be critical.
Absolutely. I'm going to be really keen to see what his sector times are also looking like on this lap. He feels like he's got the fuel to spare, clearly. Obviously sitting behind Roberts for a good few laps in this race now. This could make all the difference at the end. Roberts will be aware of this at this point, I am sure, and will be trying to respond to that, so trying to get the car warmed up as quickly as possible, wanting to hit the ground running, wanting to navigate through that traffic as best he can. But Swain, this could be a bit of a blinder from the Mustang as he dives into the pits now on the brakes, bring it down to the pit limiter, and you now crawl through the pit lane for what feels like an eternity when you've got the rest of the fleet flying on by down that start-finish straight. Has some company as well in the form of Axel Slijepcevic just behind. And we wait to see what this pit stop is going to be like for Matt Swain.
So this is going to be a key one for the race, not necessarily for the round, because remember Matt Swain started a little bit further down the order. First and second would do it here for Tom Roberts, but here comes the green and orange Mustang. Is it going to beat the Rethink Racing Gold? No, it's not. Swain's done it. What a brilliant bit of work there from Matt Swain. He's made the overcut work. Now, of course, he's had that tighter line through turn 1 on this outlap. But Tom Roberts, for the first time this evening, will hop on board with him. There is a sight that we have not seen so far here at Portimao. A car 4 position ahead of the number 66.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from Swain there. Absolutely flying along on that previous lap. Clearly wouldn't have had much fuel left, probably wouldn't have had too much in terms of tyres, but was absolutely unrelenting on that in lap there, and that made all the difference. There was very little between them. Look, just a couple of car lengths was the difference in the end. But now it's Roberts on the attack, as we say, not a position he's been in throughout the racing so far this evening. And this is going to be a real turnaround in fortunes now. Now that level head that Roberts has demonstrated in the race lead for over an hour in this evening's racing so far has to present itself yet again, only this time on the attack. We saw his rival Swain in race 1 on the attack, and eventually the pressure did get to him. One small error cost him a podium even. Will the same happen for Roberts? We'll just have to wait and see. Slijepcevic, by the way, in all of this, currently P3 ahead of Sanders as well. Yeah,
Sam Sanders has not had a nice middle phase of this race, and it's allowed Axel Slijepcevic to get ahead. That's Matt Hale directly ahead of the new race leader, about to go off the lead lap. I think the other quandary right now for Roberts, of course, right now he's in a position where he would win the round. That would be a big plaudit for Tom Roberts, still in the early days of his CLUB100 iRacing career, as it were. But right now in this race, he's still losing points to the championship leader. You know, it's 120 points for the race win in a GT3 race, and then I want to say 114 off the top. It's been a long year, folks. Pretty sure it's 114 points for second place. It's another 6 points that he doesn't want to be losing if he wants to ultimately try and win this championship. He's got to be gaining points ahead of Matt Swain at every opportunity, and that's looking pretty tough right now. The other aspect of this is, you know, we've been talking about the Mustang having a few thrills and spills out there. Do you reckon there's any dirty air influence on that? Because that's something that Tom Roberts hasn't had to put up with so far tonight.
There is definitely a big rear wing on these Mustangs to divert some of that air and have another horse-based pun, fills and spills, potentially, for these cars. But yeah, definitely some dirty air could be in the mix here at Portimao, especially when you combine that with some of the traffic that we're seeing as we head later on into the races as well.
Keep your comments coming in. Good evening to Warder, who has liked the exchange there through that pit stop phase that Matt Swain now leads this one. The other big thing as well, though, and this is what this championship is built towards, the consistency that Matt Swain is showing in both formats, in the MX-5 and the GT3, just the two formats this year. Keeping things a little bit simpler. We've had 3 formats, sometimes even 4 formats in previous escapades in this championship. Right now, Max Andrews is not quite able to replicate the MX-5 form in the GT3s, and that right now is costing him a little bit. Still looking good for a big haul of the prize pot. Second place in the championship should still be his at the end of tonight. He's losing ground to Matt Swain here. That is not something that he will be enjoying. Here's your fight for third place. Sorry, I forgot I had that setting on for Sam there. That's another. We want to play with that. We'll play with that in the new year. Get it more homogenised across the field. This is an interesting scrap. The scrap that I don't think we've seen before. We might have seen before. No, we have seen before. We saw it at Knock Hill, the MX-5s between Axel and Sam, two drivers who have had illustrious racing records in the British Universities Karting Championship, not in the same era. Sam a little bit earlier than Axel. Here's a fight for 8th place. James de Havilland, down the inside of Mike Weddle there. Michael Weddle's going to cut it back. That was a big one, James. Welcome back to the series. And he's one of the only people running in the Lamborghini tonight. I wonder if you're thinking, not quite got my car choice right for current times in the GT3s. That was a bold one on the brakes. He did well to get that stopped.
He did indeed, but also shout out to Weddle there for immediately sniffing that the inside for the right-hander coming up next was opened up and navigating it to perfection there. Knew exactly the size of his rather large Mustang GT3, GTD, as he heads on to the start-finish straight yet again, as we say. Good to see the Lambo back out on track once again. At least it sounds good for your ears, folks, as we head back on to the start-finish straight. Riddervold now against another V10 engined car in the form of the R8 of Tom Saunders heading into that first corner. Saunders does his best to put the car in a defensive position whilst racing fairly, but Riddervold looking very composed, very eager to get the car rotated in and try and find a way past the Audi up ahead. Through turn 3 and turn 4 we go then. In the background is Grossman and Ellis. And Riddervold is going to be putting a lot of pressure on the R8 just ahead.
Yeah, those two have been going back and forth over the last few laps. Here's another fight to keep an eye on. This is Cameron Watson trying to get through past the rookie leader, Daniel Cook. I think that shows just how good. Oh, that's going to get a little bit close between the two of them, and a little bit of paint being traded off of the hairpin as well. Cook's got to be careful here. This is a big haul of potential points in the rookie category to be fighting with down the inside. Well, he's giving it a good go ahead of against one of the stalwarts of the championship, Cameron Watson, in the Red Lodge karting BMW. But wow, that was a lot of risk considering his position within. He's still going to go for it down the inside of Cameron Watson. Cameron seemingly not having the same pace as race number 1. This is good to see, though. This is the kind of racing that we had at the start of the season. That was a little bit of contact between the two of them. That's not so nice to see. Rob Crawford just behind him, so you've got 3 classes involved in this one. Clubman, rookie and intermediate as things stand there.
Sounds like the start of a bad joke almost as they walk into a bar, but Watson leading things very nicely now as we head round turn 15, just ahead of the McLaren, which runs pretty wide there, but keeping his composure back onto the start-finish straight. That McLaren pretty handy when it's in some slipstream here. Those Williams racing enthusiasts will have seen their team principal enjoying his time out in a McLaren racing machine recently. As we head into that first corner, Watson controls things, uses the comparative size of that M4 to his advantage through some of the more twisty stuff here at Portimao, and just about stays ahead of this 3-car battle.
Back with the race leaders, not done yet, and we of course saw in race number 1, changed, down the inside has gone Roberts for the race lead. Swain holds around the outside, smart driving there from the championship leader, but it's not done because Swain is going to have a weaker run through towards turn number 1. Now you're thinking he runs wide. Roberts will be right in the slipstream here. The 2 Mustangs going wheel to wheel here at Portimao. This is a bold strategy from Tom Roberts to try and get this race lead back. I think we'll have 2 more laps. 2 minutes and 7 seconds remaining on the clock. Surely Roberts is not going to throw it in from that far back into turn 1. But once again, like we saw in race 1, Matt Swain under a lot of pressure. It's being applied in a different manner here, Reeve, by Tom Roberts. But Matt Swain, just the body language of his car right now, his Mustang, darting around, dancing around a little bit more than Roberts, I would say, on that last lap.
Yeah, absolutely. Both drivers are eking everything out of their cars at this phase. We saw another beautiful example of this track flowing, giving opportunities to these drivers. As we saw, Roberts goes for that inside, but by just hanging it round the outside, keeping that momentum or keeping the speed up, Swain actually won out that time around. Roberts drops back ever so slightly, but I suspect is feeling a little bit more confident on the brakes, is darting and diving into those corners, attaching himself to the rear diffuser of Swain's car in front and trying to keep up. Backs off a little bit now as we head into the latter half of the lap, but closing up under braking once again, goes as near as he does to that sausage curb. Don't want to wash out too wide there. There's gravel immediately to the left, one of the few points on this circuit where you will be punished immediately by some gravel, but we head on into the final third of the lap, so to speak. And yeah, there we go. Just looks like the back end of Swain's car a little bit less composed, but he's still looking good, I'd say. If he can keep the nose clean, keep the car pointing in the right direction, he should be on for a good finish here.
Problems for Rob Crawford. Rob Crawford has had a quick issue. We'll just have a quick sight of this. Now, what's happened? I saw a little black flag come up. Oh, dear. Oh, was that a technical error? That was very strange indeed from Rob Crawford. Pulls off the circuit and is out of this race. Well, Matthew Shorley fans will be a little bit relieved to see that, because that's another one of the big challenges in the intermediate ranks out of this race, and not scoring big points all for the first time tonight. Tom Roberts' rear axle now looks a little bit out of shape in the Mustang, and that could be the critical point, because Roberts is now 3/4 of a second back from Matt Swain. Matt Swain surely in this one is going to bring it home in the top 2, and this time it's going to be first place in race number 2. This is a very good night for Matt Swain in the championship. 2 races. Yes, he's not going to win the round, but he's outscored his closest adversary before the start of the night. Max Andrews currently running in 5th place in this one. It's been a brave effort here from Tom Roberts, but on this occasion, don't think he's quite going to have enough.
Unfortunately not, no, but still a remarkable drive, and what a recovery as well for Matt Swain, as we say. Won't take, as you mentioned, the round victory, just owing to that one. It all came down to one unfortunate corner exit for Max Swain, but other than that, a really strong weekend.
2 corners to go then. There's the penultimate one for Matt Swain done, who is looking like an unstoppable force now in the Club 100 iRacing Championship. He will finish the 2025 element of this championship campaign as the leader in the points. He wins race 2. The round for the first time this season goes to Tom Roberts in the number 66. Axel Slijepcevic back on form 3rd, needed that result. 4th for Sam Sanders, 5th for Max Andrews. He will head into the Christmas and festive break in 2nd place in the championship. What a job from Sam Spinale. Brilliant stuff, back on form. That is a fantastic response after a very difficult round last time out at Zolder. Adam Brown, good scoring tonight as well. Double top 10, P7. Mike Weddle, 8th, 2nd in Clubman in this race. James de Havilland, Murray Adams, it's all the big hitters getting big points here tonight. Alston, Saunders, Grossman, Riddervold and Ellis in the top 15. John Adey, big result, reignites his intermediate championship bid with P16 there whilst others faltered. Daniel Cook will head into 2026 as the leader in the rookie points. Another big result for Daniel there in the McLaren. The rest of the drivers coming over the line then to finish that one. I think Jack Eyre has hit incident points on that last lap as well. Yeah, there's been incidents on the last lap. Ollie Walker has had a crash. Let's have a look at what's happened here. So Walker has had a quieter night. Just seems to have come to a stop there out of turn number 2. It's very, very strange. Not quite sure what's happened. Has he run out of fuel? I think he's run out of fuel there. I think Ollie Walker has got the calcs on the fuel wrong and run out of fuel on the last lap. This was Sam Dimolo as well, who's had a crash, according to SDK on the last lap. Oh, just lost the back end right in front of Jack Eyre. Oh, I hope Jack didn't get a 2x or a 4x for that. That may have just tipped him beyond the amount that you're allowed before you serve a drive-through. It's Johnny Pinder run out of fuel as well out of the final corner. So a couple of drivers getting their subs
I wouldn't be shocked. Yeah, he messaged me in between rounds to say that he started auto fuel on for the first race. He hadn't turned it off. He hadn't been able to do his proper fuel calcs. So this has been his first run with manual fuel calcs.
Well, there we go. Hey, Johnny, easily done. Easily done. Let's have a look at the results then from tonight. We didn't actually look at the first full result, did we? From race number 1. So this was it. So Robertson, Sanders, Slijepcevic, Swain and Andrews. That was your top 5 in race 1. Spinell winner in Clubman. Shawnee winner in intermediate. And then, as I say, a really big night for Daniel Cook to take the win in the race in rookie, first of all, with that P21. Difficult races for Ronald Grossman, for Jack Eyre, and for Joao Castro. I think that could actually be Joao Castro's realistic hopes of Clubman honours this year done. Another round where I'm not quite sure what's happened to Joao there, but has not been able to get to the end of both of the races tonight. Here is your results in the feature. Race number 2, Matt Swain takes the win again and will extend his championship lead heading into the new year with 4 rounds to go. Could he be wrapping up the title early perhaps before we get drop scores coming into play in the final 3 rounds of the season? I hope not from the neutrals perspective. Excuse me. We want to keep this this intrigue going very, very far into the season, but you cannot fault the point scoring efficiency of Matt Swain so far in the first 6 rounds of this 10-round championship. Tom Roberts, that's a real breakthrough result. The signs have been there from Tom Roberts since his introduction to this series, but he will take the round win virtue of 120 points in that first race and another big haul in race number 2. That is a really, really good thing to see for Tom. Axel Slijepcevic needed that result. That's a much more solid performance from Axel, probably the best one that we've seen from Axel since round number 1. at Navarra. He likes the races on the Iberian Peninsula, it would seem. Sam Sanders solid as well, P4. Max Andrews maybe disappointed with that, but at least holds second place and probably has extended his advantage in second place in the championship at the end of tonight. One of the stars of the night has got to be Sam Spinell. We didn't see too much of Sam, but that work in race number 1 where he pitted early, brilliant tactics there, kept himself out of trouble, knew he had good race pace, meant that he goes from a non-participation in qualifying to a win in the round in Clubman, P6 in the second race, after having got P7 in race number 1. Adam Brown, that's got to be one of the most solid nights that Adam Brown has had in his time in this championship. P7, Mike Weddle. P8, James de Havilland and Murray Adams completed the top 10 in the feature. Andy Alston, Tom Saunders, Ronald Grossman, Magnus Riddervold and Tim Ellis showed it. It really was a night for the Premiers and the Clubmans in these strong, good conditions here at Portimao, with the realistic weather for this time of year, a little bit further south in Europe. Top 15 all Premiers and the Clubmans. We had to wait till 16th place to find our first intermediate. It was John Adey. That is still a good haul of points though, and ignore the great big 0 points, that's not true for all of these drivers, but he took the win in intermediate in that feature race. Cam Watson 17th, Dan Cook 18th. So was your winner again in the rookies. Second half of the field, Lawrence Vines, Colin Ward, they completed the top 20. James Fremont, Sam Dimolo, David Whitehouse, they all recovered from earlier troubles to be on the lead lap, as were Eric Mignon and Jack Mitchell-Lowe in the top 25. Jack Eyre, I think, had a drive-through penalty for too many incident points right at the end there of that race, but at least was still on the lead lap, P26. Fuel going, well, not into the engine or just completely running out of the tank, we believe, for Ollie Walker and Johnny Pinder, 27th and 28th, but at least because they got on to the last lap of the race, they were classified ahead of Simon Delamere, Tom Holland in the top 30, Matt Hale, Rob Crawford, Matthew Shawnee, Craig Brown, all suffering issues in that race. Non-starts for Atty Cooper and Joao Castro. That's it. That is it. That's the last piece of racing action for 2025 from a Double Dash Motorsport media perspective. Reeve, what have you made of tonight?
Fantastic racing overall from everyone. I think everyone can go into the Christmas break with a thoroughly deserved rest from some racing action. Yeah, really enjoyable to see these cars out here at Portimao. Some great racing from everyone throughout the pack. So yeah, nothing much more to add from my end, just some really nice racing.
Thank you, mate. Thank you for all of your help in 2025. We'll do it again in 2026. If you want to get involved in this championship, thesimgrid.com, search on there for the CLUB100 sim racing community. Would love to have you on the grid. I've done plenty of thanks and I'm tired, and it's nearly 10 o'clock. Well, no, it's 9:30 here. It feels like 10 o'clock. It's been a long week. But to make this one short and sweet, thank you everybody for your continued support of DDMM in 2025. It's not been a bad year, it's been a challenging year though, and we couldn't do it without you tuning in, subscribing and doing all of that business. And as I say, we'll do it all again in 2026. The first commentary in 2026 will be back with this championship in a month's time. We'll be at Oschersleben for round number 7 back in the MX-5s. Do subscribe, click the notification bell and all of that business so you don't miss out. That's it for 2025. Thank you very much everybody for joining, whether it's been in this championship, in real life CLUB100, British Kart Championships, stuff out in Europe, car racing. It's been a whirlwind 2025. We'll see you on the far side. We'll see you in the new year.